Damn guys, check this out. 110 today, 110, 100, 103, and then throughout California, Sacramento, Fremont, Tracy, Reno, Gulfport, Bakersfield. Y'all are baking out there for sure. It's crazy out here. I mean, California crazy. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is really hot. It's 110 degrees and it's gonna be somewhere between 100 and 110 throughout this week, and hopefully next week, according to the weather, it says that it's gonna be back down in the high 80s and 90s, which is still kind of hot, but you know what? We got to get to work. So in the last previous videos, you guys have seen I talked about my back being injured and all of that. I haven't been in the garage in about 2 weeks, but I'm trying to change and break the cycle. We are back now. Back is feeling better. Still a little strain, but we're not doing any lifting or picking up, so I'm not worried about hurting it anymore. Just got to be extra careful. I'm gonna try my best to not talk you guys up a storm. Today we're gonna be working on the KRX. The KRX had a little mishaps going to LA the other week, and the car has been parked here since. There's a lot of oil on the floor from the broken oil pan, but we finally got everything in for replacing all the stuff that are broken. Right here we have another oil pan for the K24. Big shout out to Moii. We have the T7 Designs alternator relocating kit that came outside of the country. Fast shipping, to be honest with you guys, but we finally got those two main things to fix this car. I'm gonna try to talk less from this step forward, and let's get to work. What's crazy is that it's been a week and my drip pan is pretty, there's a little lake over there and it's still dripping out of the pan, right? We're gonna do the oil pan and the alternator relocating kit. Right now, to access the alternator, I have to move my radiator. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove my T-bar and the brackets that hold this in place so we can swing it out to access the alternator somewhere back there. So you guys can see the alternator is just hanging out. And what had happened on my trip was this bolt broke or backed out of where it's supposed to be mounted to on the water pump housing, and that backed out. Alternator became loose, serpentine belt came loose, so I pulled over on my trip to tighten up my serpentine belt, but I couldn't tighten it too much because there was really nothing supporting the top. Now after driving another 90 miles or so, I lost the bottom bolt, which then the alternator became a little loose, but I tightened up that one last one that was there. There's two down here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Where is it at? Somewhere there. And what had happened was that bolt disappeared too. So that disappeared, alternator came off, belt was tossed somewhere on the freeway, and the car overheated because the water pump wasn't working, and that pretty much ended my entire trip. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna remove the entire K-Tune unit and switch it over to the T7 Designs. I think I had this alternator on before the engine went into the car because the frame is preventing this bolt from coming all the way out. So looks like I'm gonna have to remove this bolt right here. And I believe this is the second bolt that broke, because the other one broke on my K20, and this is a new engine, and this also broke in that housing. So this is where the bolt broke. You can see there's like half a bolt in there, and I don't have any more extractor or speedo out or whatever to remove that, and there's really no space between here to remove that. So I'm looking at the kit online for the T7 design, and it seems that the kit bolts up here. So I don't think I'm worrying too much about that hole down there, because I'm not going to be needing it. But before installing the T7 design, I actually just realized that I didn't even take this off yet, but before I install this, I think I'm gonna do the oil pan first, because with the K2 unit, it's hard to put a socket between here because of the bracket, and I don't know if the T7 has a bracket down here. I don't want it to interfere, so I'm gonna do the pan first before I do the alternator kit. I'm gonna take that off. Flex seal tape, you are a lie. Literally 5 minutes later down the road, this thing peeled back, and pff, look at all that leak. I'm gonna have to jack this car up all the way, degrease the whole entire underneath of this car. This is the first car that I had that doesn't have oil underneath the car, and it's unfortunate this happened, which now literally lubricated the whole under chassis of the car. I'm gonna have to jack this thing up, degrease the whole entire thing all the way to the gas tank. I can see how shiny it is back there, and pressure wash all of that so it can be nice and dry again. Ah crap, I forgot I JB welded the freaking drain bolt. 2 layers of JB weld and 3 layers of flex seal tape. This pan is actually pretty crushed up, like pretty bad. Well, there's like no oil left in here because it is all over the tray. All pans taken off. I got all of the surface cleaned of RTV. I used a razor blade. You can see all the RTV right here. And then I used a hand brush to get the rest of the little ones off. And then brake cleaner and a rag to clean the surface dry. The PLM baffle, this thing right here seems to be holding up great. I did Loctite all of the 10 mils so that way it doesn't back out. Oil looks good. Pickup tube looks clean. Can't really see it, but pickup tube is clean and it is ready for the new oil pan. So I want to give a big shout out to the homie Moii Robles, and he hit me up after seeing my story that my oil pan has been busted. He had the spare steel pan just sitting around for a long while, which was supposed to be a replacement for his parents' Accord, I believe. And he was like, well, it's just sitting in the storage for a while. I figured you can use it. So he sent me one. And the good thing is this is coming from him, so there's no damage to it. He sent me pictures, opposed to going to the junkyard and grabbing one from there that has a hole in it. So granted, this is a junkyard engine, came with a steel pan. Let me show you guys really quickly. That is the puncture that they put on the pan to drain the pan, rather take off the bolt. So let me show you guys this real quick. I hit a nasty bump on the I-5 going to LA, and look at this pan. That's why it was leaking oil. It wasn't the drain bolt, it was literally this entire slit right here. So if you guys can see where the paint is missing on the pan, that's literally the damage that was allowing the oil to seep through and drain out of my engine. Man, it sounds like I'm breaking bones. Brand new steel oil pan. Needs a little loving, but for the most part, nice and clean. No hole and no dents. Now, he did include some stickers, which is freaking awesome. I'm gonna stick his Instagram in the description below. Check out his car. Honda Accord, case swapped. Says right here, rival machine, no loyalties, no idols, no hype. Freaking awesome. I've known this guy for a while. Be sure to go in the description below, check him out. He also has his YouTube channel. I'll link that as well too, of his current projects, and he also does like event coverages and stuff. I appreciate it, big homie. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean this oil pan up, RTV, and get it back up in the car. Yeah, this drain bolt is pretty busted, and this one doesn't have one. But I do remember I have a brand new one somewhere. Hi, Lucy. Magnetic drain plug, baby. Let's go.
Been the same guy. I don't know though. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just taking a little break, eating my Costco dog off camera because I don't want the comment section to go crazy. But the sun has gone down a little bit, and the weather has dropped a lot. Like, there's a breeze right now and it feels really good. But yeah, I scrubbed the pan, just waiting for it to dry up a little bit, and we'll toss it back in the car. Minor difference between the steel pan, K24A4, TSX K24A2. If you look in the inside of this pan, it's hitting right there on the baffle. If you look, there's an indentation right here, and the TSX is flat. So in order for this pan to work, I have to cut a piece of this off. I want to say right here. I need to cut that to allow the K24A4 pan to fit. I hope it's just that. I don't think it's this one. I believe it's this little tab right here. And I'm just gonna fold it out of the way. So I already got the pan cleaned up of all the RTV because it was drying, because it's still kind of warm out. Something else is preventing the pan from going back towards the back of the engine. So it seems like something is still holding it up. I want to show you guys real quick. The closer and closer I got this pan to close, the more area it was actually hitting. So if you look, there's scratch marks right there, there's scratch marks all of there, all of here because of that hump. And I'm not entirely sure like the full difference between the A4 and the A2 pan, but I know for sure this. I'm not entirely sure why it's hitting here, because it looks identical to the other side, but it was hitting. I couldn't close it, so I clearanced this right here. I moved this tab off to the side. I bent this one 90. I bent this one slightly. All these little tabs on the top, I folded it in, and the main one that was hitting was this one right here. You can see I kind of folded it, and I didn't want to grind because I didn't want a lot of specs to like go into the girdle rotating assembly side. So I just bent everything out of the way. It clears now. I cleared all the RTV there. I applied new RTV to the pan, and I'm gonna go ahead and just bolt this thing up. So I'm just gonna do that. So oil pan is on, and it's just really hot down here on the floor. A lot of bugs are on my legs because I'm wearing shorts, and I think I'm going to continue this tomorrow with the alternator bracket relocation from T7 Designs, just because I want to show you guys more in the daylight than to try to fight with a flashlight to give you guys an angle down here, right? But also because I'm working on the floor, I really want to clean up my drip tray and also scrub my floor so to be fresh to roll around on whenever I come back under here. So I'm gonna clean the floor. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right guys, so next morning here, I just got back from O'Reilly's. I bought a box of brake cleaner, engine degreaser, and I also bought new fresh VR1 oil for when we are done with this car. So before I get into the T7 Designs box here, I want to give a big shout out to the big homie we have shit up, Brandon. He's out in SoCal-ish, Hesperia. He is your local all-wheel drive plug here in the West Coast, and T7's Design authorized dealer as well. So big shout out to Brandon for hooking me up with the T7's Design alternator relocating kit. They shipped pretty damn fast. I didn't expect this to show up 2 days ago. It was supposed to show up today, but it showed up a lot earlier. I heard a lot of good things about this product, and I kind of like their design as well too, and also their finish. Their finish looks pretty freaking awesome. This whole entire unit is also billet aluminum, and go ahead and just open this up and show it to you guys. So T7 Design, I don't know how long they've been out in the community, but I did start seeing a lot of their stuff pop up on the interweb, especially on Instagram as well too. So I decided I wanted to try something a little different than the K2 unit. Now we could have gone with the EP3 idler pulley with the TSX alternator, but I know a lot of people online that I've seen who've ran the alternator setup as factory, like a TSX. They hit the headlight housing, and I don't want to cut my housing. That's cool. They have this pamphlet of literally the whole assembly of the unit. We also got a pretty nice sticker right here, T7 Designs. We have the pulley, all the hardware for this kit, a brand new serpentine belt. I'm pretty sure these are the bracketry. We have the top bracket right here. We have the bottom bracket right here. This one is the alternator bracket itself. Here we have, I believe, this goes to the top bracket for the pulley. It goes onto that. I just got to figure out where the pulley is at. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's right here. Free timing chain tensioner, which I already have on the car. Sick. This one's silver. Definitely gonna use this in the wagon. I truly appreciate this gift. So it's great that they have the instructions for the T7 Design kit. I've been sitting here looking at this, trying to figure out all of the hardware and their home locations. Again, big shout out to Brandon, because he also has a YouTube channel and he's very informative. He does have the T7 Designs alternator relocation kit as well, and he made a full installation video on his channel. So if you guys want to check out Brandon's channel, I'll also link in the description below. Steak and Speed Garage. So I'm gonna go ahead and watch this real quick and figure out this whole entire kit, and then we'll get it on the car.
That's that. Bottom one, we need a 14. Got the old bracket off. AC bracket with those bolts. We got obviously
Lower bracket. I'm gonna go ahead and bolt that on first. Next up, top bracket. So I'm an idiot. I took off the K2 unit, and I even mentioned that the bolt was too long and it interferes with the radius port. It looks like it's going to interfere the same, and I'm going to have to take off the kit to bolt the alternator to it first and then throw it back on to the engine. So I'm going to do that quick. Alternator on. So now we go to the bottom bracket, which uses one or the other bolt, 7A or 7B, with the spacers and the washers. So let me see. So it looks like we're gonna use both of the spacers because that's a pretty huge gap. The bolt goes through the alternator, then through the spacer, and then through the bracket. So let's do that. Oh boy, this is really a really tight fit. I might actually have to drop my traction bar for this. Okay guys, so we have a dilemma. My alternator kit is very far off. Can you guys see that? Okay guys, so after searching and not really finding an answer, I hit up Brandon and said, hey, I'm running into this little situation with the alternator not reaching the bottom bracket. In the meantime, I was talking to Nomis, and he was also helping me with trying to figure out if, like, you know, something about the 24, something is different between the 20, and, you know, that he went to the website, he read the entire thing, and then at the very bottom, there's a, like, yellow column that says, attention, this kit is to be used with these listed of K-series engine, but with a PRB water pump housing. Doesn't matter what motor it is, it needs a K20 PRB housing. I have the 24 housing on here, and I mean, I just assumed because the K-Tune kit worked on both the 20 and 24, so I was like, I didn't see a difference in it, right? But they are actually different. So Brandon also confirmed that the water pump housing is different, and he's never had an issue because he always swapped to a 20 housing. So lucky for me, I'm gonna pull this off, and I do have my spun bearing motor, and I do have the 20 housing here, which is already modified for the manifold and everything. So it's just as simple as a quick swap-a-roo. And what really sucks is that I just freaking scrubbed this entire driveway last night, and I got to drain the coolant entirely, and I know for a fact coolant is going to get everywhere, but I got to do what I got to do. Let's finish installing that T7 alternator kit. This right here is a K20 water pump housing. I didn't RTV it yet because I wanted to make sure that the housing is my issue. And I threw the bracket back on with the alternator, and the angle of the alternator now is much closer to the bracket. You can see the bolt right there is now lined up, and it looks like I can use one spacer instead of the two. And this water pump housing is going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and just take everything back off, clean it up, and RTV it, reinstall everything. It's unfortunate that I cannot use the brand new TSX water pump because it is different than this one, and because I'm not using the oil cooler, I'm going to have to, I think I'm just going to weld this shut because I don't have any other solution to block this hole off. So sheesh, that's a lot of RTV on here. But anyways, I'm just gonna weld that shut just so that we don't have that port open, and or maybe I should just weld this shut. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We are back to where we left off. We got the water pump housing, thermostat housing, everything all put back together, and we're back at the bottom with the alternator to the lower bracket. So I noticed now that I have the K20 water housing on here. It has angled the alternator a lot towards the lower bracket. Remember, we had 2 spacer gap. Now it looks like we only need to use 1. The last part to the T7 alternator relocating kit is the tensioner itself with the pulley. So I had it laid out earlier until I realized my alternator didn't fit. So the bearing, the pulley is already assembled. So the only thing I need here is this little washer that goes, gotta make sure the circlip is towards the bracket. The washer goes on top, and then there's 2 washers and a lock, which is these 2 right here. Okay, there's 2 short bolts that are the same, and then there's 1 long one. The long one goes for the pulley. The 2 short one goes to the tensioner adjuster with the backing plate. Where'd you go, bud? Where did you go? Right here, right? So show you guys the lineup here real quick. And then there's 1 more bolt, which is this one right here. So can't forget these 2 little washers for the 2 bolts so it doesn't back out. For my future reference, 7PK1220 Gates Micro V belt. This is provided with the kit, which is freaking awesome. This belt feels crazy, like a reptile skin or something. Letterings facing out. Kind of forgot how the belt went on for a second there, but we got it on. It is tensioned, not too tight, not too loose, and now we can tighten up the pulley itself. I think that's it. That's the full install of the T7 Designs Alternator Relocation Bracket Kit. Looks pretty neat. Kind of flows with all the black things going on in here, and I can't wait to try this out. Because I couldn't figure out the alternator, the water pump housing situation earlier, I think I'm going to continue this video tomorrow, day 3, unfortunately, because I want to fill the oil and coolant tomorrow to let the RTV for the water pump housing to set before I fill it up. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and button up all my radiator, throw my bumpers and everything back on, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, how about a free chicken? All right, guys, so day 3, we got the car turned on, fresh oil, fresh coolant, and I think the KRX is ready to rock and roll. The T7 design kit is pretty neat. Like, it looks really good sitting right there. So KRX, I'm gonna leave it here on the jack stands, because I still got to do a couple other things with the car, like cleaning underneath the car and all that stuff, because the oil, if the oil stays there, I drive it a lot, dirt kicks up on it, kicks a lot more underneath the car. I don't want that to happen. So the car's gonna stay on jack stand. I'm gonna do some other things with it, but as far as this video goes, I am gonna wrap it up right here. I got the PRB housing on T7's design alternator relocation kit to replace my K-Tune unit, and we got the new oil pan on. Big shout out to Moii for that. If you guys enjoyed the progress update, and happy to see the KRX now back up and running, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Got some stuff on the way, got some plans laid out. If you guys want to stick around and see what we get into, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.